Hello Gear 8, we're moving on to problem solving using what we learnt with averages yesterday. Before we do that, we've got a quick starter. Try and re-jog your memory. Can you find the mean, median, mode and the range of the data below? You can use a calculator. Give yourself 5 minutes to do that. If you finish before those 5 minutes, have a go at the extension question. Here are the answers, so mark those off. The extension answer is at the bottom as well. So last lesson we looked at finding each of the different averages. There was 4 of them. And today we're going to be faced with problem solving, which requires us to work backwards and to use algebra. So before we move on to that, I'm going to give you 1 minute now. Can you find a set of data which has a mode of 5? So can you list off maybe 3 numbers or 4 numbers so that those numbers have a mode of 5? Pause the video now. Can you create a list of data there that have a mode of 5? So remember, mode means most often, so you just needed any set of data which had 5 coming up the most number of times. So you could have had something like that. You could have had all of the bits of data being 5. You could have had, let's say, 2, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5 and 10. As long as 5 came up the most number of times, then you had a mode of 5. Same again, can you give yourself a minute to find a set of data with a median of 10? So remember what median means. Then can you find a list of numbers which would have a median of 10? Pause the video, give yourself a minute and then play it back again. So remember, median means the middle number. So what I would do for this is, let's put 10 in the middle. Remember, you've got to order it. So as long as I put a number lower and higher than 10 either side, then that would give me the median of 10. We could have a slightly bigger set of data. You could have put another number here, 6 and 12. Notice I have to put one on each side of the data, because then if I then found the median, remember we cross them out and I'd be left with 10. So any set of data that when it's in the right order, the middle number is 10. The final challenge, can you find a set of data with a range of 12? So think about how you're going to get a range of 12. Pause the video, give yourself a minute, and then come back to it. Remember, range we work out by taking the biggest number, take away the smallest number. So you needed to choose the biggest and the smallest number carefully, and then the other bits of data doesn't really matter. So you could have gone, let's say, a difference of 12, I could have 13 minus 1. So as long as we have that 13 and 1, and all the other bits of data are in between those values, then that would have given you a range of 12. I could have gone for something bigger. I could have gone 120. And what would the other one need to be to have a range of 12? Well, 132. The difference between those 12. As long as I then put numbers in between those, then I would be fine. So it doesn't matter if you go for smaller numbers like this or bigger numbers like this. As long as the biggest take away the smallest gives you 12, you've got a range of 12. Okay, when it comes to the mean though, the questions that you can be asked get slightly trickier. Just remind ourselves that we work out the mean by adding up the numbers all together, so we could call that the total, and then we divide by how many numbers there are, which is this bit on the bottom of the fraction. So just keep that bit in mind. The mean age of 4 girls is 10. Another girl joins who's age 5. What is the mean age of the 5 girls? Okay, well, we start off with 4 girls and the mean is 10. So let's have a look at that equation. The mean equals the total divided by the number of how many there are. I'll just leave that as a hashtag there. So the mean we know is 10 because they told us in the question. The total of the added ages, we don't know. We don't know the age of each separate girl. We just know that the mean is 10 and we know that there are 4 of those girls. So how could I work out the total? Well, I've got 10 and 4 there, and I've just got one thing I don't know. So I could actually find out the total, because the total divided by 4 gives me 10. So I've got to think, what number divided by 4 gives me 10? Well, that's 40. We could have also done it algebraically by saying, well, here it's dividing by 4, so we've got to times 4 on both sides, and we would have still got that the total was 40. Okay, we're not quite finished. So we know the total of those 4 girls is 40. It says another girl joins age 5. So let me just rub out this bit here so we've got a little bit more room. We've worked out that the total age is 40 of the 4 girls, but then a new girl is added who's age 5. So this new person here is 5 years old. And we know that all of these added together, we said the total was 40. So it could be 10, 10, 10 and 10, or it could be 8, 12, 10 and 10. We don't know. We just know that all of their ages added together is 40. So now we've got to find the mean of these 5 girls. Well, let's have a look at that formula at the top. The mean equals the total divided by how many number of girls there are. Let's include the bits we know. Well, I know the number of girls is now 5. I don't know the mean, that's what I've got to work out. But I do know the total of their ages, because the total of their ages will be 40 plus the new girl, 5. So we know the mean will be whatever 45 divided by 5 is, which turns out to be 9. Okay, you've got a very similar question there. Remember to first of all work out the total of those 4 girls' ages. Try and remember how we did that, and then you've got to find the new mean. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so well done if you've got that. Let's have a look at the answer. The mean age of 4 boys is 12, so I know the mean is 4. Sorry, the mean is 12. The mean of 4 boys is 12. Another boy joins here who's 7 years old, and we've got to work out the mean of this bit here. That's the question. Well, to find the mean this bit here, we need 2 bits of data. We need to know the total of their ages, and we need to know how many people there are. Well, we know there's 5 people, but we don't know the total. So I need to find the total of these 4 boys to start off with. We can do that because we're given the mean. So let's write out what we know. The old mean is the total, which we're not sure, divided by how many boys there are. Well, there's 4 boys here, and we know we're told in the question that the mean is 12. So I've filled in the bits I need. The total, therefore, is total divided by 4 equals 12. Or with algebra, we could say, well, this is divided by 4, so I've got to times by 4. And we find that the total has got to be 4 times 12, which is 48. So we now know that all of these 4 boys added together is 48 years. Now we can go on to the second part here. Remember, the mean we've got to work out is the total divided by the number of how many there are. Let's see which bits we know. Well, we know how many boys there are now. Now with that new boy, there's 5. The total, well, we know that the 4 boys added together is 48, and the new boy that's been added is 7. So I've got now everything I need in order to work out the mean. 48 plus 7 is 55. And then 55 divided by 5 is 11. So the new mean of the boys is 11 years old. So you've got 3 questions to have a go at, very similar to the last examples. They may include, so for example, question 2 looks at number of goals scored, or number 3 is heights of men. It doesn't matter what it is. We were looking at number of people or the age of people. It doesn't matter what it is. You still do the same thing. So remember, there's 2 steps. The first step, you need to find the total of the original thing. So remember, mean equals total divided by number of people. So the first step you do, you're going to try and find that total of the original. So for the first question, you're going to find the total age of the two girls. And then the second step, you then use that formula to find the new mean. So pause the video now, have a go at those questions. Here are the answers. So 7, 15 and 1.65. Okay, slightly different mean question. We've got the mean of 4 numbers is 6. Another number is added and the mean is now 5. So the old mean, let's say, starts off as being 6 and the new mean, when a number is added, becomes 5. What number was added? Okay. Well, the way we work out mean, remember, is the total divided by the number of numbers. Well, on this side here, the old mean, what bits of information do I know? Well, I know the mean is 6. I don't know the total of the numbers, but I know that there are 4 of them, 4 numbers. What about this side here? I know that the mean is 5, so I can fill that in. I don't know the total, but I do know that there are now 5 numbers. So if I find the total before the number was added and the total after the number was added, surely the difference between the two totals will be what number was added. So how am I going to work out the total from this one here? Well, the total divided by 4 gives me 6. So you can think about what number divided by 4 gives me 6. Or you can say, well, here it's being divided by 4. So to do the opposite, I've got to times by 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So I know that the total of the 4 numbers is 24. How about when an extra number was added? Well, the total here divided by 5 gives me 5. So what number divided by 5 gives me 5? Or you can think it's being divided by 5 here, so I've got to do the opposite and times by 5. 5 times 5 gives me 25. So when there were 4 numbers, all of them added together gave me 24. And when there were 5 numbers with one number being added, the total was 25. So the number that must have been added is just 1, is 25 take away 24. So that is my answer. You've got a question here, so pause the video, have a go at it, and then we'll go through it together. Okay, really well done if you had a go at this. Write out what I did before. Old mean equals new mean equals. Okay, so the old mean, when there was 4 numbers, was 8. And 1 number is added, so there's now 5 numbers, and the new mean was 7. Okay. Always help yourself out by writing out how you would work out the mean. So the total added together divided by how many numbers there are. Well, the old mean was 8. We don't know what the total was, but we do know there was 4 numbers. What about this side here? We know that the mean is 7, so I can, instead of writing mean, I know that the new mean was 7. I don't know what the numbers added up equals, but I do know that there are 5 numbers. So again, if I find the total before the number was added, and I find the total after the number was added, I can find the difference, and that has to be what the new number was. So this side here, before it was added, a number divided by 4 gives me 8, or you can say, well, it's being divided by 4, so to find the total, I can times by 4. 8 times 4 is 32. So when I added the 4 numbers together, we get 32. What about here? It's being divided by 5, so I've got to times by 5. The total when there are 5 numbers is 35. So with 4 numbers it's 32, with 5 numbers it's 35, so I can find that the number added must therefore be the difference, and it's 3. Okay, we have 6 questions here. Give yourself 10 minutes, so set a timer on your phone or on the computer, or just look at the clock. 10 minutes to have a go at these questions here. So start from question 1 and just see how far you get within the time limit. Make sure to have a look at the example that we've just gone through if you get stuck. Here are the answers to those questions, so make sure you mark those off. One last example of a question you could be asked with the mean. The mean of 4 numbers, so I'm going to draw 4 boxes representing those 4 numbers. The mean of 4 numbers is 9. Okay. 3 of the numbers, so I can fit in 3 of those boxes, 12, 8, 9, and we don't know what that last one is. Instead of putting a question mark, actually, I'm going to put the letter X. Remember, we normally represent things we don't know with letters, so I'm going to put it as X because we don't know what it is. We need to find out what that X is. Well, if I was going to work out the mean, what I would do is I'd add all the numbers up together, divide by the total number there are, so there's 4 numbers, and that would give me the mean. The only issue is here we have an unknown bit. But I do know what the mean is, don't I? I know the mean is 9. So I'm going to rub out this word here, mean, because I can fill it in with what the actual value is. It's 9. So I've just used the formula and I've filled in the bits I know. That's always what we're going to do. Let's move on. So we've got 9 here. Well, what's 12 add 8 add 9? That's going to be 29 plus x over 4. I don't want that divide by 4, so I'm going to times by 4 on both sides. 9 times 4 is 36, and that's got to equal the top of the fraction, 29 plus x. So we can see that to get 36, I've got to do 29 plus this mystery number x. Well, what can I add to 29 to get 36? Well, that's 7. So that mystery number must be 7. Like always, you've now got a question which is very similar. So I would write out those 4 boxes. Think about how, remember that mean equals the things added up together, so the total added together, divided by the number of numbers. Fill in the bits of information you know out of those bits, and then try and find the missing number x. Pause the video, have a go at that. Okay, welcome back. Let's have a go at this question. So we know that 3 of the numbers are 6, 5 and 8. Let's fill in the bits we know. Do I know the mean? Yes, the mean is given to me as 6. Do I know the total? Well, I don't know it for sure, but I do know if I was going to work it out, I'd do 6 plus 5 plus 8 plus the mystery number, which we know is x. Do I know how many numbers I've got? Yeah, I know there's 4 numbers. Let's simplify this a little bit. I can't do anything to this left-hand side. I'm just going to leave it as 6. 6 add 5 add 8 is 19. 19 plus x divided by 4. Okay, we don't want this divided by 4. I want to find out what x is, so I want to get that on its own. So the first step I'm going to do is times by 4. 6 times 4 is 24. We times this right side by 4, so we're just left with the top part of the fraction. Carrying on as if we were solving the equation to get x equals, we would take away 19 from both sides, and we can do that. That would give us the right answer. Or we can say, well, 24 has got to be 19 plus x. So what do I need to add to 19 to get to 24? Well, I've got to add 5. So that mystery number has got to be 5. You've got 3 questions here, which are really similar to the ones that we've just done. So have a go at those now. Pause the video. If you need a little bit of help, have a look back at the example ones we've just done. Here are the answers, so mark those off. And in today's lesson, we're introducing this exit ticket. So because we are looking at some new topics, I'd like to see how we've sort of found the lesson, how much we've understood. So there's 2 questions here to do as your exit ticket, so before you leave the lesson. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a go at these two questions. If you can print out the slide, brilliant. If not, that's fine. Just write it on a bit of paper. And once you've done these two questions, you're going to take a picture of it and submit it on to show my homework. So this will be a good way for me to see how the class have got on with the work and whether maybe I need to do a little bit more on this sort of topic. So pause the video now, have a go at these two questions, and then take a picture of it and send it to me on show my homework. Brilliant. We've reached the end of the lesson, so just make sure you've submitted that work to me and then you have finished.